Good evening, waifus and husbandos, and welcome back to another edition of WaifuCast. WaifuCast.
WaifuCast.
We are your hosts. I am Luna Kage.
Lunar Cage.
And we have my orifice.
That's what I am and who I am.
And then we have a black man with a plan, and that plan is to get him some Ryusuke.
Make that paper.
Hey.
Hey, but Tyler Perry made money, and you don't want to be like him.
I really don't. I
Medea, yeah, Medea can go back to jail.
I would love.
You know, some of those players were okay though. Not all of them were bad.
I'm white.
That's true.
and then like literally, I want to like.
Derek, why do you gotta out yourself like that?
Well, the point of it is that that's definitely like a black culture type thing. It appeals to black people because it appeals to black culture. From what I understand, at least, maybe I'm totally fucking wrong.
From what I understand, like it's literally like a sitcom type deal where it's a bunch of successful black people
for the most part,
acting like white people.
I wouldn't go that far.
No,
they still kind of act like niggas, but like they're just
I
like
don't know. Every single bit of Tyler
like
Perry that I've
church
seen,
people acting like they do in church, but you know, like they're like straight up. It's like if church people act as nice at home as they do at church,
but they don't.
They don't.
I'll tell you what, and this might sound racist, but it's like when it goes to church-going folk, black people who go to church are way faker than white people who go to church.
I can't attest to that, but I can attest to like what I've seen.
Well, I not in general. You're right, but I went to. I mean, again, this is just an observation made off of a few experiences, but I've been to a couple churches in Detroit over my childhood, like with other people and stuff.
Yeah.
And man, oh man, like I always thought that. You know, church was about modesty and religion was about, you know, not flaunting your riches, but you will see these motherfuckers in gator shoes. And
oh, yeah, especially like the pastors are the fucking worst. Like, they just squander all that fucking money that they get, and it shit kills me.
It's just, I don't know. Be that as it may, that's not our topic.
What's
today.
this episode about, guys?
So that's the end of the Tyler Perry.
Today is the Tyler Perry episode of
Anti-Theist podcast.
Dude,
welcome to the WaifuCast.
If we make it to April, we need to have an April Fool's episode where we just fucking like a whole 2 hours of just talking about shit that we would never talk about.
We should just make a script where all the sentences or the words are in the wrong places and just make total nonsense
like
for
ad
2
libs.
hours.
That'd be great.
I am bike brakes are golden.
Just have an entire episode of the podcast just be Trevin and Kevin and not mention it. So it's literally just Trevin talking and it's never addressed.
Hi, I'm Luna Kage. Like that, like where I'm you. But I don't say I'm you.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yes. Well, this time, do we want to do My Hero episode analysis before or after?
We can put that in the middle or something.
That's not gonna make sense.
Honestly, the way I think we should do it, we should wait until next week because then because we didn't do anything on the first few episodes of this season. So we can just do the whole Stay in Dark.
So stay tuned.
Yeah.
For the Stay in Dark analysis.
I'm on the outside.
That's their worst song.
I still love it.
Yeah, I know.
Who the fuck is they?
Stained.
Oh, Stained.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Moment of silence.
Moment of silence.
I don't even like Stained, so never mind. All right, so this week's topic, we're gonna talk about some. I don't know how to really word this, but gaming milestones, I guess, is the way that we're gonna go here.
Gaming
just
in our lives.
A few important gaming moments from each of our lives.
Things that we never fucking forget.
Yeah. Who wants to start? Lunar Cage?
Lunar Cage.
Go for it, dog.
You have the sexiness.
I do. I guess we can start with, talk about important, I got quite a few milestones, but some of them I kind of don't want to have an immediate, you know what, fuck it, let's just go with this one. I've told you guys this story before. It is a moment that happened in my fighting game career. It was the first major I ever went to. It was called, at the time, Ultimate Fighting Game Tournament. The abbreviation was FUGT. You faggot. I feel like they did that on purpose. But it was UFGT 9, and I was in Blaze Blue. It was a very small turnout because it was It was still in the CS Extend era, so there was only 8 people in the tournament. The only 2 I lost to were the top 2, yet I still got 5th place. Oh well. But the moment I'm referring to was when I fought against Lord Knight, the guy who won the tournament. He was one of the best, and I think at the time he was the best American BlazBlue player. And it was great because it was the first time I'd ever fought him offline. And really, I'd never barely fought him before, period. But it was great because I had him on the ropes, and I knew I had him on the ropes. He still eventually beat me, of course. But it was just a great moment because it kind of let me know that I wasn't bad. And it was especially great because the first match of the set, I won in a very, I can't say dominating, but it was a very, like, aggressive fashion because I was keeping him pinned down with pressure and he was trying to get away.
Okay.
He was jumping in the air, holding his barrier, and then eventually he found himself in the corner, in the air, after a double jump, with no barrier, and he couldn't run, he couldn't block an anti-air. So I let rip my 6C, which the second hit is a big-ass hitbox move that can't be air blocked, that had 120% bonus proration, and he was in danger state because he didn't have barrier. So halfway through my combo, he was dead from like 80% life because he just he got wrecked hard.
Damn.
And that was the last round of the first match. So it went back to character select because that's how BlazBlue didn't have rematch back then. So he sat there on the character select screen processing what had just happened for about 30 seconds. And it was a good feeling for me to do that to somebody the level of Lord.
You shook him.
Yeah. And he won those next 2 matches, obviously, because that's how he beat me. He knocked me into losers. But even then, the next match, like, it was especially a proud moment for me because I was blocking this onslaught of lychee pressure, and lychee pressure is ridiculous, especially back then. It's still good now, but, like, back then it was like that's one of the few things I was worried about because you couldn't move, couldn't you couldn't drive out of anything because it's like you still had the stick on your face. So it's like you couldn't drive through his overhead because your stick was on you. You just got to hold that. So I'm just sitting there blocking, and I blocked for a solid, like, 7 seconds, which is a long-ass time when you're in the middle of getting dicked. And then I'll never forget it. After all that time of being patient, blocking the onslaught, I hit my 4D, got that fatal counter, and he bursted my ass. Put me right there in the corner still. And at that moment, I was like, that may be it for me? That shit felt good. That was me weathering the storm, 4D'ing, him being like, no! Not this way!
He wasn't about to let it go that route.
And then, he gave me the business afterwards. And it was a great moment. It was a great tournament for me, even though it was a very small one. There was high-level players there, and I lost to 2 high-level players. So I don't even consider myself getting 5th. I got 3rd as far as I'm concerned because number 1 and 2 are the ones that beat me. So what the fuck?
Right.
I feel you.
It's just they beat me earlier than they beat everyone else.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So
No, honestly though, like, being as how I'm just getting into fighting games with a degree of seriousness. Like, I've had quite a few of those moments where it was like even in losing, there was like a good earlier today when we recorded the Scrubcast, and I took that 1 round from you. Like, I beat you, and that was a good feeling because I've never done it.
Yeah, and like when you think, because like even when I said at that very moment, like I said, okay, now do it again, because when you think about it like that, it's not as hard as it is.
No,
you know what I mean. All you got to do is do that 1 more time, and you win the match. Do that 2 more times and you win a tournament match.
It's true.
Yeah. That's it. It's a good feeling. Yeah. Absolutely. So, you want me to go next?
Sure.
Okay. I don't have a lot of multiplayer gaming experience, really, except for the last maybe 2 years. Since Overwatch came out is when I really took a deep dive. So, like, most of my stories are going to be just, like, single-player experiences that I had. I've talked about it, I'm pretty sure in the very first podcast is the only time I ever talked about it at length, but The World Ends With You. That's a milestone game for me because, like, it came out at, I think back on the circumstances around the time that game came out, because I was a senior in high school. And it's not really that special. There's nothing about when it came out or like anything like that that's special. But when I played through that game, everybody in the friend group I had at that time was playing through that game.
Mm.
So like I was talking about it constantly and people cared. That was something that up to date I'd only really got with you and other Kevin. So like
Yeah.
to have that on a larger scale was awesome. But the game itself, I had been not as big of an anime fan as I should have been as a kid. I liked, Dragon Ball and other things, but I don't know, I don't even, like, when I look back on that too, I don't even know why I didn't watch it. I don't know what I did with that time.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like, I didn't do anything better.
Yeah.
But that game was, like, I felt like I was playing through an anime series when I played through that game, because the story was... And it was much longer than it initially seemed like it was going to be based off the framework the game gives you. And it had all of the, especially looking back on it now, all the tropes that animes typically have in its characters. But I wasn't as familiar with it then because I didn't watch anime, so it was all really interesting to me.
Mm.
And more so than even, handheld or not, it has one of the best, like, lores of a JRPG I've ever seen. There's so much backstory to that game that... For one, Square needs to just man the fuck up and capitalize on, because why did you write all that shit?
Great.
Yeah, I'm saying anything at this point. Give me any more of that world, and I'll be happy, because it's so well developed. And it was the first time a game, like, I don't want to say rewarded grinding, but incentivized it in a way that I wanted to do it, because I didn't care to grind back when I was younger. Honestly, it was about beating games, so I would not grind, and then I'd end up in positions to where I was not prepared for what I was facing, and then I'd get frustrated, and I wouldn't finish a lot of games because of that. World Ends With You, if I ever hit that roadblock, I was totally fine with grinding, for one, because the combat was so fun, and all the pins and the way that they evolved and the way that they leveled up and whatnot. You could get experience for your pins from battling, you could get it from communicating with other players, and you could get it from just having the game in sleep mode. So there was a lot of versatility there. There was times where I needed sleep PP, as it was called, to evolve a particular pin. So I would just put the game in sleep mode and leave it that was
like a really great feeling because with every times where I would play it and I would leave without playing it, and I'd turn that bitch on and just all my shit's leveling up.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and it's it's weird because it's you're not playing the game, but I kind of felt like I was playing the game because I was doing my part to advance my shit more, and it felt like real achievements. And I don't know, man, it just had a really unique take on a lot of things that I either like or dislike in most RPGs, like the way that gear was handled, the way that stat progression was handled, because your level was independent of your stats. Your level, I think your level affected your health, but that was it.
Yeah.
You had to eat food to raise your stats, but it was permanent increases. But you could only you had 24 blocks essentially, and each food would take up a number of blocks, and the only way to reduce the number of blocks you had was to fight. So you could eat food, and then you'd have to go and fight a bunch to digest that food, and then you could eat more food. So again, another thing that incentivized the combat. Not only that, but as the game progresses, they give you the ability to enter into as many random encounters as you want, kind of thing. Because you scan the environment, and then you see the enemy symbols floating around, and you can tap them to engage in combat. Initially, you only can do it with 1. Eventually, you get the ability to do it with up to 4. And then you can do it with up to 16 if there's that many on the screen. So, but the way, the more fights you do in a row, the better gear you'll get, the better experience you'll get, stuff like that. So, there's just so many things that incentivize me to play that game. And at the time, it was not a AAA game. It wasn't very popular, and I spent a fuck ton of time playing it. More so than anybody else was playing anything else at that time that I knew of. That's for me. That's it.
Wait. So, what was it that was milestone-ish?
Huh? What did you just say?
What was milestone-ish about it?
That I fucking loved that game, and that it was the first time... I 100% completed that game.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a milestone.
Okay, that's just that was the only thing I was like wait, like, you just told me you loved the game, but you didn't say how it was like a milestone.
I played the dog shit out of it.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure this podcast was created just to give Derek an excuse to talk about The World Ends With You.
Yeah. I need to do a solo cast about that
Just
game.
talk
because
about it for like an hour and a half.
I love that game.
Okay, so for me, like, fuck, and this milestone wasn't even all that long ago, honestly. So I've been playing like fighting games with you guys for like the past couple months, and even though I've been playing fighting games like my whole life, this is the first time I've ever been formally learning how to like play 2D fighters, as well as like formally learning stuff in Tekken.
Same.
So before I even started like training with you guys, I got my first like formal training in like any type of fighter in Smash Bros. With my friend Chapin.
Huh.
I mean, we all know it's a party game, but still, to some niggas, it's a fighting game. So
They play it at EVO.
So when Smash 4 came out, I bought it before he even got his Wii U. And we would play online, and because he's been playing his whole life.
Okay.
But I remember when I got the game, he said that like his goal for me was he wanted me to get to the point where like I could actually beat him. And so if you're like me, like when I practice fighting games, I never like play against a computer or anything because I just feel like it's kind of a waste of time.
Mm.
So me and him would play like for hours on end, like almost what it felt like every day, or at least like 3 to 4 times a week. And even though I could never beat him, he would slowly like teach me certain things, just like small like incremental things that will like vastly improve my game.
Mm-hmm.
But like this whole time, I was like training like in a vacuum. Because like I never fought anyone other than like him and my friend Kim, who also played with Chapin like all their childhood. And so here I am thinking I'm like still shit at the game because I could beat Kim every now and then, but I could never beat Chapin.
Mm-hmm.
I would get close every now and then, but I could never beat him. And so here I am thinking I'm like still shit at the game. And that year I go to Yuma. And this is the first Yuma I've been to like since I started playing Smash. I get to Yuma, and I go and finally like get into one of the little circles where we're all playing Smash. Plug my shit in, and I body all these fucking niggas, dog.
Damn.
It is one of the greatest milestones to feel like that. Because, like, obviously your goal always is to get as good as you can.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're losing to someone, of course it feels shitty. But when you realize that the level you're at is higher than all these other people,
I had no clue I had no clue I was even good at the game. Because I felt like, I can't beat this person who is the only person I fight against, I felt like, okay, I kind of suck at it. But then, like, to just go out into the wild and realize, like, I was just so much better than all these other people was crazy to me. Like, to, like, just fight these niggas and, like, look at them like they're, like, just in slow motion and just punishing all the dumb shit they do. I
haven't had that aha moment in a competitive game yet, and that's not really discouraging to me because it's something I'm striving for, because I want to have that moment, but I haven't got there yet. Like with Overwatch, I've definitely had some matches where like I absolutely wrecked people, but then I've had matches where I didn't even get a single kill.
Plus it's a team game too.
Yeah, so it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Individual effort matters a lot less there. So, but
yeah, it was a cool show.
That's
It was
a good
like,
milestone.
It felt like you know, like in some animes, like there'll be like a fight, and like the one person like looks weak. It's like the first time Archer fought Lancer.
Yeah.
And Unlimited Blade Works, and like Lancer thinks he's about to get in that ass, and then like Archer just like releases his fucking aura.
And it fucking boom.
Yeah.
That's like literally one of the coolest scenes in an anime.
It really was the shit. That's how I felt at that moment.
Yeah, no, I feel you. That's a good milestone for sure. Better than mine.
Another milestone, going back to BlazBlue again, was my first tournament that I ever won. first tournament I ever won was the debut tournament of BlazBlue Continuum Shift Extend. So this is the game after my character had been nerfed from top tier. Like, she was top tier in all of CS2, but I never took any tournaments. Partially because I never got to go to tournaments, but the ones I went to I still lost for whatever reason, whether it be a bad matchup or a Japanese player was there. Like, I ended up getting second in a tournament, but that tournament was literally, it might have been the tournament right before this one I'm talking about, where I fought, he's from America, but he had learned BlazBlue in Japan, so he might as well be a Japanese player.
Mm-hmm.
He had come back to us, to Chicago, and we all go to Chicago, and I beat everybody. Actually, I'm going to talk about this milestone. We'll save the other one for my next one.
Okay.
This tournament, it was great throughout the whole thing. It was the very first Chicago Heart tournament. It was called Chicago Heart 3 because Arcana Heart 3 had just come out. So the first one was the third one. The next one was the fourth one. One after that was the fifth one. It was dumb. But anyway, so before I got to the Japanese player, I literally ran through the winner's side of the bracket. Like, no one beat me, and it even came up to the point where one of the other best Michigan players was also there with me. His name was Leo. He played Ragna. Me and him, we went about as even as you could possibly go during that tournament. Like, fucking, when I took the first match off of him, he took off his hat. And then when he took the next match off of me, I let my hair down. He was like, all right, all limiters are released.
Oh, man.
And then,
rated clothing is taken off.
Yeah. Like, literally, that's how it went. And fast forward, like, skipping ahead a little bit, but fast forwarding to the very first Undernight tournament we ever had. He was there, and I was in grand finals, not with him, but with, it was me who was considered a top anime player in Michigan, or at least top BlazBlue player. If I say anime, too many people might get offended because they're like, oh, that motherfucker Luna sucks at Guilty Gear, he sucks at all these other games. But anyway, I digress. But I was facing the top Street Fighter player in grand finals of an Undernight tournament, and I was in bad shape after he had reset the bracket. But from behind me, I feel somebody slipping my ponytail off, and it was Leo. And I was like, that's a great callback. I lost that tournament. But anyway, let's go back to the Chicago Heart I was talking about. So I ended up beating Leo, and I go into winners finals against Heart Nana, who was the Japanese player from America, who completely pushes my shit in with the only character who was potentially stronger than Noelle at the time, which was Makoto. He called himself Squirrel Jobs, and he fucked me up. And then I go back to losers finals, and I won that. I think it might have been against Leo again. I think I might have beat him twice in that tournament. I can't remember. I just remember it was hype the time that I did fight him. When I go back into grand finals with Heart Nana again, and I felt this odd sense of complacency, and I had accepted the loss before it ever happened. And even though I got second in that tournament, realizing that I had just accepted my loss and was playing sloppy almost intentionally, almost as if I was trying to save face, to not put 100% forward so at least I could have an excuse. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That feeling of inadequacy that I had struck myself with was like the worst. And going from that tournament to the next one, which I'll get to after you guys go through another one of your milestones, that was a huge moment in my competitive life, because it was almost like I had intentionally put a limiter on myself to save face, but it didn't. It really didn't help.
So you ended up just sacrificing your chances at winning for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah. And that's not even saying that I think I could have beaten him, but it's like, it's not like I wasn't free until I made myself free.
But once you made yourself free,
I was free.
Free.
Yeah. So
well, I mean, the way that I see it is like you don't get to where you are today without those learning experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why it's an important milestone.
Yeah, and I mean it's important for you to have that type of self-reflection because a lot of people would have taken the complacency that got you the loss in the first place and rode that out.
Yeah. And like I was saying, like this is before I had won any tournament. And that was the closest I'd ever gotten to winning a tournament. And it was the strongest my character has ever been in the game. So after losing that tournament, I've almost felt as if it was going to be impossible from now on. Because it's like, she's top tier, she's getting nerfed, you know?
Yeah.
There's going to be no way after that. And that's the end of part 1 of my story.
Okay, so this is going to be a massive, massive shift in genre of game for us, but...
Eroge. First time ever beat off.
No, we're going to go to Guitar Hero.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
There you go.
Alright, so easily the biggest moment in my Guitar Hero career was the first time that I beat Through the Fire and the Flames on Expert legitimately. And we're talking about back in Guitar Hero 3 days, there wasn't fucking the tapping mechanic that they had added into the game in World Tour.
Shit.
I learned how to tap the intro to that song using the mechanics they had at the time and could do it consistently every time.
You do it off one strum?
You know, you strum with your elbow and boom.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, honestly, like I've never been, as far as skill is concerned, better at a game in my whole life than I was at Guitar Hero at the time. Now, granted, Kevin was easily the best in Michigan in that game, without a doubt. Like I'd say that if there were people that still played it competitively, he's probably better than most of them.
He's got such an affinity for rhythm games.
He's got an affinity for anything that he can mechanically break down and pretty much, like, if he can cultivate muscle memory to be good at something, he's good at it.
And it sucks that he never actually tried to pick up a real instrument.
Yeah.
Because as proficient as he was with the drums and Rock Band, by the end of that, he could have been a drummer.
It's not the part of the problem is that that's not how he's creative.
Yeah.
That's not how his creativity comes out of him. I digress. That's the second time that's been said in this podcast. I was never as good as he was, but I was close, and it's a milestone for me because like that like just like with fighting games, there's a definite skill required to get to that level of play in that game, and I grinded that out, man. I'm telling you, thousands of hours. Me and Kevin, like we were talking about at the end of high school, right after high school ended, so I didn't have any real responsibilities. I had nothing but free time.
Yeah.
I was at his house every day, and we played Guitar Hero for fucking hours every day. So when I finally fucking beat that song legitimately on my own with no help, because there was a long time between being able to tap that intro and being able to beat the whole song. Like I got the intro down, but then I couldn't get to the solos and stuff like that. But once I got it the first time, that was an aha moment because it was like I can do this, and I was able to look at where I was having the most trouble in the songs and practice those parts and get better at those parts because like I was talking about with it being muscle memory, I didn't lose any ability to play the other parts by not practicing those because I understood how those were meant to be played. And I don't know, man, I've always wanted to really like cultivate that level of skill in something else because I forgot about it really until we were talking about this because I don't think about Guitar Hero much anymore because it's a dead thing.
Yeah.
But it was the only thing in gaming, and I'm not necessarily big on being able to brag, but it was the only thing I was ever able to really brag about.
Well, I've told
gaming.
you before, and I will say it as many times as I need to. Like, one thing that always like lets me know and like bolsters my confidence when it comes to learning something is that I learned how to play guitar, like real guitar. You've learned how to play real guitar.
I know how to play several instruments.
If you can do that, you can fucking learn how to play any, especially if it's execution based. Like fighting games, you could learn how to play fighting games.
I know I can.
Yeah, like fucking that's it. Like
my biggest problem as a youth was I was always about instant gratification. I didn't really like to work for stuff, and even with the guitar, like there was a lot of times where I would like hear a song and I think a part was cool. and I learned that part.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't learn whole songs. And it didn't take until I learned how to sing and play before I even gave a damn enough to learn whole songs.
Yeah.
But, yeah, guitar is something interesting for me because, like, it's not like Guitar Hero, there's a finite number of things you can do. I know that it's like that with the guitar, but it's much more vast. So there was a lot less of a learning curve with that. But having taught myself the actual guitar just through brute force over time, like, I see the value of practice a lot more because of stuff like that.
Right.
And, like, that's part of why I'm, like, so... I feel like the drive to get better at fighting games because, like, the payoff is great. And, to be honest with you, the pain, I guess, that comes with losing is not that bad.
And that's kind of cool about the Scrubcast, how we do it, too. Because it's like, the series is more or less about you guys growing, but... It's like, if it gets to a point where one of you is consistently winning over the other one, you're not going to get complacent because I still come in after that and, like, just hand you yourself. And you're like, well, fuck, I still got things I need to do.
You're going to have a challenge from me. It's not going to be that easy. One day, that's going to be the case. Okay. I don't like that.
I'm rooting for you.
Well, at the same time, see, it's different for me because it's like, as your friend, if you were to enter in a tournament and I was to enter in a tournament and you beat me, I would root for you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have the mentality where it's like, nobody's ever going to be better than me.
No, that's not even.
You have to, though. You have to think you're good.
Well, I do think I'm good.
Well, the way that you just looked at me was like, okay, buddy.
Well, the way I looked at you was you got a long way to go. Because what you've been seeing, it's not even my final form. When I fought Jason, he didn't even get my final form. And I told you he was good. He is good. But he still didn't
What's the difference between your final form and what I get? Or what he gets?
I fuck around a lot.
When you're fighting us?
Yeah. Like, and it's not a fuck around as like, here, look at what I'm doing. It's kind of a like, I'm like, let's see if this works and see. Like, I like with Under Night, it's a little different because I don't play that game, so I'm trying to actually get muscle memory for that game. Like, there were some matches where I didn't even fucking hit combos or anything like that because it's like, fuck, I'm still fucking up. But when it comes to games that I know how to play, at least BlazBlue and Tekken and stuff, it's like, I'm going to do something stupid, and if it works, I'm going to do a combo, and it's going to be hilarious.
Are you trying to hit Derek with the fucking guitar?
Yeah. Like when I was doing that, it's like, you know, like I was risking a chance at losing because I wanted to hit you with that fucking guitar.
I don't take, like, being made fun of very well.
Yeah.
Like, in a joking context with you guys, it's one thing, but,
Yeah.
like, people are going to shit talk in the FGC, like,
Right.
legitimately shit talk, and, like, I don't respond very well to that kind of stuff. I know that about myself. It's a character flaw. And that's, like, that kind of stuff, it's discouraging to me. Because it's like,
it should
is the only way I'm ever going to be good enough to give you an actual challenge to play for 10 years?
No. Because there are guys like Sonic Fox who are better than me at games, and he's like fucking 16.
Yeah, but I'm not 16. I don't have the mental.
I mean, you're right, but like it's
acuity
just
of
some people catch on and they just skyrocket.
Like you catch on a lot faster. Than
Like,
I do,
it
and I've been
actually-
playing fighting games longer.
Yeah, it actually took me a long time because I don't improve as fast as other people do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in fact, we could talk about like whenever a newer game comes out and like the rest of the scene plays it, even though it's in our genre, I'm the one getting my ass whipped by everybody because it takes me so much longer to pick up on shit than everyone else. Like, Eunice just came out, and I'm probably the worst of the, you know, good players in our scene at that game because it's like I'm fucking, you know, whatever. I don't know how to do stuff yet. And I mean, like, it's just everyone learns at a different pace. Like, when I look at you and say you got a long way to go, it's not because I think I'm so much better than you. It's because I know that you've still got all this extra stuff to learn. And I'm proud of the fact that you're absorbing a lot of stuff. But it's like, it's that early stage of just getting your mollywopped that I remember and look back on both fondly
Well,
and
I'll tell you what.
negatively.
Okay, when we did the Scrubcast and you were playing Wagner, I was looking at like when you were because you like to go in low with her, And I was not sure for a long time what exactly the overhead attack you would do looked like. So I couldn't tell by animation when I should switch to a high lock. So I made it a point towards the end to take the hit and see what the move looks like. So I could try to, and it's like that kind of thinking like that. I can see where I have made improvements for sure. I feel a lot different playing the games now.
Yeah, and like your improvement is easily seeable. Like it's one of those things I acknowledge, but it's like once you get to, because here's the thing about like playing
improvement is. I want to just preface this because I'm not bragging. I have literally, except for the exception of against you, Ryusuke, I haven't won against anybody else I've played.
Yeah, I think you took a match or two off of Jason.
I took a round.
I think you took a match.
Has Jason been playing for a long time?
I don't think so.
Okay,
maybe
so
not.
he's just
Maybe not
naturally good.
Uniel, but I know that he's actually a good BlazBlue player. His Lychee's pretty good.
I'm saying I didn't take a match.
I think you did. I think I remember specifically you taking at least one match.
Well, either way, I didn't. It wasn't like getting my shit kicked in constantly. It's like I gave him a fight most of the time, and that's like, I don't know.
And that's something important. But the thing is, like the difference is when you're fighting somebody who's at a certain level, and again, I don't think I'm the best at anything, but I do recognize myself at being very good. Because I mean, I have to. It's like at this point, like people can say I suck, but they're wrong. You know, because it's like being good doesn't mean you're winning tournaments. Being good means you're good. I may not be the best, but I'm for sure good.
Yeah.
So when there is a difference between me and how I look at somebody I'm playing against, even if I win or lose, I don't consider them as good unless I lose control. When they can seize control, like anybody can like fucking land like a random hit critically and then take a match off of me, but when they are like, I got this match, you know, they're like, they go in there, their guns are blazing, I'm forced to play their game, that's when they get control. But the whole time, if I'm on defense and I'm still like, you know, I got this, I'm just waiting for him to do this one thing.
I understand that this is drifting far from game. Actually, not really, though.
It's about milestones.
Well, and I mean...
it's just a very specific
because
milestone.
I feel like I'm working towards one.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like me and Ryusuke both are working towards several milestones in fighting games. Like, I feel like just simply understanding to block and block switching and things like that. I've had several mini milestones.
Yeah.
My biggest shortcoming right now, that I can think of, is just straight up not knowing moves and how they work together. And it's like that's gonna come from practice.
Right.
Because it's like I can get a feel for things in the middle of a match, you know, based off doing stuff. I can see what works, and then through watching you or him, I can get a feel for how your moves work and how to react to them and stuff. But I never feel like I'm really in control.
Yeah.
You know, so like I do understand what you mean when you say that.
Yeah.
Like,
And
like things are going according to plan.
Yeah, I've
and
never
it's
really
one of
had that
those
feeling
things
either.
where it's like you get into the groove and you start getting into your flowchart type area. Because a flowchart, you know, that's got a negative connotation, but that's an actual thing that everyone fucking uses, is their flowchart. Like, that's how a fucking setup works.
Well, in a lot of ways, that's how fighting game combos are.
Yeah.
Period. Because you only have a finite number of moves that can connect with another move.
Right. So, like, when it comes to knowing, being in control and stuff, it's when you know that you know your options in this situation, or you know what your opponent is good and bad at. Because, like, the thing is, at a neutral situation, it's like, okay, neither of us are at an advantage. But if I feel like I'm in control, that means he's not good at neutral. And even if he's hitting me out of random stuff, he's not confirming it into his advantage. So I'm getting hit out of my shit, but I know that I just got to land this one hit, and that's me.
So when you say neutral,
Yeah.
you mean That's like when nobody's on the offense and nobody's on the defense. And when
Yeah.
you say controlling the neutral game is how you respond to that.
Yeah, during the scramble, that's the neutral game where it's like people are trying to get that hit in, trying to get their advantage going.
Mm-hmm.
And like I can be taking all kinds of hits in the neutral game against somebody that I know is not good at neutral and confirming into advantage. Like, but that I call that collateral damage. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm fucking in red health if I know that when I hit you, you're dead. You know what I mean? Because I know you're gonna crack under my offense, and I know you can't win a neutral situation that consistently. You know, so it's like when I'm against a player that's, you know, not as good as I am, especially, and like not even that, like you can be worse than me and still be good at neutral, but it's like when you're at the level where I know you clearly don't know how to play neutral, it's only a matter of time. So I'm still in control. It's like, okay, I landed that hit, he hit me 10 times, I landed that hit, now he's dead. He's gonna be dead. He's got most of his health, landed that hit, now I'm on offense, he doesn't know what to do, he wakes up with a button, I know he's gonna wake up with a button, that's why I hit that button that beats him waking up with buttons. You know, it's like to know your opponent's power level and in such a way to where it's like he's shut down before we even play. And
that is a degree of control that must be nice.
Yeah. And it's not like I have that against everyone. Like I said, like when somebody, like there are situations where I'm never in control. And it can have a lot to do with like character matchups or just my opponent in general. Like, especially in this recent BlazBlue, where Noel doesn't have a lot of offensive presence or mix-up, fighting defensive players is awful. Like my buddy Lumen, he's a big Undernight player now. He was a dude that I would always raffle stomp in BlazBlue. But after CF came out, Noel took those big hits on offense. Lumen is really defensive because he plays Undernight. I can't hit him. I'm like, I'm never in control. If I hit you, like, neutral's bad because your character's got good neutral. If I hit you and take you to, like, a wake-up situation, I can't open you up. So, suddenly, this person, their one strength, takes all of my control away.
I see what you mean.
So it's like, you know, that's one of those things, like, that's getting into character specific shit.
Yeah.
But having control is a lot more than just being good at any one aspect of the game. It could easily just be this person who might not necessarily be as good as you is so good in one area that it just completely negates your well-roundedness or anything.
Yeah.
Like a good defensive player in a game like that will just completely make you feel like you don't know what you're doing. Because it's like, well, I can't even fucking hit him.
Right.
Which is, it's kind of getting against the topic a little bit, but in Tekken it's not like that because there's a lot more guessing involved with with defense. It's a lot more condition based. So a good player in Tekken has to be someone that, you know, can read the mind of his opponent as far as like watching what he does and then reacting to it accordingly. Even though there's still a lot of that. If anything, it's harder in Tekken than other games.
Because I feel like that comes from a larger move pool.
Yeah.
You have way more options
too.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things, and it's something that does take experience. But the big reason why it did take me so long was that I was younger back then. You know what I mean? Like being young, and I was dumb. You know, it's like all right. It took me longer to come to that moment of realization as to why everything fits together the way it does. So you're doing well right now. You just got to get to keep improving to where those pieces start coming together.
Well, and I feel them coming together slowly. Realistically, like I feel like I could be wrong. You know, I don't know a lot, but I feel like a good next step for me is going to be learning moves like to where I know them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm not guessing at it.
I mean, you have to. Like,
why are you snickering?
Yeah, why are you
I feel like the redheaded stepchild. Kevin
Why?
never tells me I do.
You never ask me for shit.
He never tells me I do well.
This guy's in my inbox every day about fighting games. Something like I only hear from you on the weekend.
That doesn't mean I'm not improving.
It doesn't. But how am I gonna know?
Yeah, but you're not practicing either, according to yourself.
I didn't practice last week that much.
Did you practice the week before that?
Yeah.
Oh, did
I
you?
practice all the fucking time.
That's why you got that ass band in
Get the fuck out of here, you Gustav spamming ass nigga.
Hey, you know what though? I'll tell you something, and this is it's relevant because at least with Azrael and fighting you, like I don't have a lot of options personally because I don't know all of his moves. Mm-hmm. But what I did to you was intentional, and I beat your ass using a plan, and it felt good.
And that is important too because it's like. It kind of goes with his idea of knowing his moves because I told him about Gustav. I'm like, you need to use that. This is what it does. This is for you. This is why you should use it. And then you started using it, and you were like, I feel all that he just said. So I'm going to start fucking using it.
Well, dude, it's exactly what you're talking about with the neutral game. Because, like, I can be away from him and have that space between us, and he can try to close that gap, and I can punish him with a Gustav no matter where he lands. Mm-hmm. And I like that.
And it's just like what I was saying about keeping control, because it's like, you have Gustav, I know you're going to use Gustav, I know how to beat Gustav. Mm-hmm. So in any situation where I'm like, I feel a Gustav coming, I let that 6D rip, you either get hit because you Gustav, or you didn't use Gustav and still got hit. And if you blocked it, I knew what to do if you blocked it.
Yeah. Well, I'm learning.
Yeah.
For sure.
I need to hear more shit from you.
Yeah, Ryusuke, you got to make an effort to get better.
Like,
wait, so I do make an effort. Just because I don't hit this nigga up doesn't mean I'm not making an effort.
I'm trying. See, here's a big. What I think I mentioned this last week is like I have a much smaller knowledge base of fighting games than you do just in general. I don't know terminology. I don't know, like, I can understand things conceptually, but when you guys are talking and you say the scramble, I don't know what that means initially. Yeah. I don't know what the mix-up means. I don't know what anything.
Messy guessies.
I didn't know anything. So, like, I asked, a lot of what I asked him is, like, what does this mean? Why are these things what people are doing? Like, fundamental stuff, because I don't have that. Most of my, like, competitive gaming experience is Smash Brothers, and it doesn't carry.
They actually do have a lot of different fucking terminologies. Like, casuals are called friendlies. Fucking,
That's so
Smash Bros?
Yeah.
I never heard that.
Really?
He's not from Chapin.
Well, I mean, Chapin might not be, like, a competitive Smash Bros.
You need some ointment.
Yeah.
What?
Because he's Chapin. Alright, what's your next milestone?
Okay.
Because I still got 2 more milestones to get through. And we're
not being good enough at fighting games.
I'm fucking good enough, nigga. I'm straight. I can get there.
We never said you were gay.
Now we just get there without Kevin's help to spite this nigga. Fuck all that.
And then I'm going to get there better and with a stronger understanding of what's going on. Take me to FGCU.
Because, like, you're trying to learn from a Smash player.
I don't take my fighting game advice from Chapin.
Good.
Only Smash.
Because they come from... And, like, I don't mean any disrespect to Jason. Because he apparently he comes from Smash Brothers, too.
Yeah.
But I kind of laughed on the inside. And he was like, yeah, I originally played Smash Brothers. I'm like, man, that's rough. But I mean, I still respect that because, like, execution-wise, Smash Brothers is ridiculous. But
well, I mean, he beat my ass, so
yeah.
Okay. My next milestone actually happened last fucking night, nigga.
Oh shit, he got laid.
No, I wish.
Oh fuck.
He got
his first documentary.
Fantasy fat material.
Ooh. A nigga was playing Splatoon.
Ooh.
And
Splatoon
2.
Left 2 dead.
So, I'm playing Splatoon 2. Doing what I do, getting it in.
Okay.
Nigga,
shooting your goop.
Yeah, getting it in. And
you see this nigga's forearms.
So I'm in the lobby. And
oh
god. There's somebody named Erica in my lobby.
Fucking hell, man.
And I'm
milestone.
in between matches. Hell yeah, it's a milestone. Cause check this shit, I'm in between matches. I see this Erica person out like in the hub area, and like in the hub area, you can have like drawings and shit to go with your character. And I see somebody has a drawing of Ryuka, And if you niggas don't already know, Ryuko Matoi from Kill la Kill is like one of my top 3 waifus.
Respected.
Of all time.
She's one of those thuggish, ruggish tomboy hoes that I
love
like so
Ryuko.
much.
And, so...
I mean, she's cool. She ain't in my top 3, though.
I'll put it in.
So I see that the character's name is Eric. I'm like, there's no fucking way. There's just no fucking way. This isn't even happening right now. So I'm like, let me go to Twitter real quick. I go to Erica Mendez's Twitter. If you don't know who Erica Mendez is, she is the voice of Ryuko Matoi in the English dub, and also the voice of shut the fuck up, Derek. The voice of Akko in Little Witch Academia. And
my name is Dalen, and I suck dick like.
And so I go to her Twitter, and she has that same fucking picture posted on her Twitter, talking about how she immortalized herself in Splatoon. And I'm like, oh shit, nigga, I've been playing Splatoon with Erica Mendez. So I hop back in the fucking in the matchmaking, get lucky enough to get paired up with her again. We're finally on the same fucking team. And I'm like,
did you paint "I love you, Erica" on the ground?
Should've.
Hey, how about you don't forget to mention how she didn't accept your friend request?
Hey, nigga, she might have just not signed in yet, bro.
True. It's true.
She might not signed in yet.
She's probably just like making
better
sure.
slide up in her
She
DMs.
doesn't want.
I can't because Nintendo won't let you message friends.
Nintendo, let us slide up in her DMs.
God damn,
She doesn't want to like.
niggas.
She doesn't want to seem so desperate, so she's like trying to delay her.
You should draw a picture of your dick with dimensions.
What dimensions?
It's like, this is how big my dangalang is.
So like,
do a what's it called? A fucking 3 view or whatever, where you fucking got a top, side, and front view.
Oh shit. So like,
I need you to see the
we finally
dimensions
get
of
on the
dick.
same team. And I'm like, all right, I gotta show the fuck out, nigga. I push motherfucking forward for that choke point, nigga. Had the motherfuckers pinned. Match is over. We win with like 90+% of the fucking board painted.
Damn.
Real nigga shit, dog. It was at least 90%.
Alright.
And I had 19 fucking kills. And my whole thing is like, why don't these niggas just go down the side of the fucking thing and they can just avoid me? But they kept coming my way, so I'm just holding them off at their fucking spawn point. Solo, nigga, ain't nobody else back there. Solo as fuck. 19 motherfucking kills.
Solo dolo.
Solo dolo. Best Splatoon match of my life.
If you're having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. He got 99 problems and he's splatting on them.
Oh.
Ho.
Yo.
That shit was hot. That was actually a good moment for you right there. That was some hype shit.
All right. So part 2 of my previous story. So this was
Jesus.
This was the tournament after that last tournament I was talking about and lost, where I'd gotten complacent. Just to bring you up to speed.
Complacent.
So it was the very first Ranbat for BlazBlue Continuum Shift Extend. So very first one. I go to this Ranbat, and they completely fucked up seating for the brackets because all 3 of Michigan's top BlazBlue players were on one side, and the other ones were on the other side. So grand finals was me versus a dude that I raffle stomped. But before we get there, my first opponent was Leo again. So this was the next tournament after that first tournament I beat him in. So I beat him again. And I'm like, all right, that's awesome. It's great. I beat him. My next opponent was Axis, who was the best player in the scene, who played Tager, my character's worst matchup. This was a character and player that was always the end of my tournament. If I didn't meet him in a tournament, that meant that I could get a little bit higher. But it was, no matter when it was, he was the end of my tournament.
That's your own fault, though.
No.
You could have played somebody else home slice.
No, not against him.
Is he just that much better than you?
He is still, to this day, extremely good. He might be autistic, because he's a very strange person, too. But I love him. So anyway, I get to him, and I'm, like, lamenting, and I'm like, man, I'm going to be knocked into losers already. Fuck. So, I don't even remember how it happened, but I beat him. First time I've ever beaten him in tournament. First, like, literally, just to give you an idea, I met him during CS1, and in the entirety of the time that game was out, I beat him 7 times. I kept count.
Out of like hundreds of matches?
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Jesus Christ. That's how I feel against you, though.
Yeah.
Are you autistic?
Maybe. So, I'm not autistic enough, though. So, anyway.
Anyone that's good at anything is autistic.
So, I beat him in that match, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I beat Axis. Now I can lose happily. You know what I mean? Like, because, like, he's just going to come back in losers. You know, like, that's what I was thinking. So, Shards, he's a buddy of the scene. Not a person I get along with too well nowadays, because I called him a Nazi once. I was like, damn, I didn't know Jewish people could be Nazis. He didn't like that. So, anyway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, he unfriended me on Facebook.
He unfriended you on Facebook?
He blocked me on
man,
Twitter.
Emily unfriended me on Facebook, and I didn't even say shit to her face.
So anyway,
I didn't even say shit to her.
So
She's just a soft, pancake-ass little girl.
Damn. So this is before all that. But anyway,
I will not confirm or deny that.
So Shards walks up to me, and I tell him that. I tell him I'm like, yeah, man, like I beat Axis once. I'm happy now. I can just, whatever. He was like, God damn it, Luna, just win. I was like, you know what, Shards, you're right. So the next match I had, well, the next match that I saw was Leo versus Axis. So the other two of the big three of the BlazBlue at the time were against each other, and I'm like, if Axis wins, it's me and Axis. If Leo wins, I get to fight Leo, right? I'm like, Leo scares me more, but I know I have a better chance of beating him than Axis. So I'm kind of like, So Axis picks the character he has his best chance with, which was Platinum. It was a new character at the time. And he got good with her. Like, he knew to pick Tager against me because of that matchup. But he's like, I'm like, fuck. This is a new character and Axis is really good. Leo might not fucking know that matchup, but Leo he had some execution shit that impressed me at the time, and apparently I had the best execution in Michigan. And I'm like, God damn, Leo, look at you do that.
Well, don't they tell you that your real main is practice mode?
Yeah. So he beats Axis. I'm like, dude, I got a fucking real shot at this. So my next match was Leo, and I beat Leo.
Did you body him?
No. It's never a body bag with Leo. Leo is too good to get bodied. Even if I win convincingly, the whole time I'm sweating. He's one of those guys that I never feel in control against.
Ever.
Even when I'm winning, like winning hard.
You're just like, oh, one fuck up and this is all over.
I am on tilt. I'm just like shook the entire match. I'm like, this guy's got DPs. He's not afraid to use them. So anytime he gets meter, I'm like, oh, fuck. So I beat Leo, but the tournament's not over yet. So at this time, I'm like, I'm making any kind of fucking, like, idea in my head. I'm like, dude, I never lose to Lumen, but he's my grand finals match. Like, all he's got to do is beat me, and he will steal this tournament. And I'm like, leave it to me to be the motherfucker that loses to a dude that no one gives a fuck about at the time.
That chokes on mom's spaghetti.
Right. Like, leave it to... This is going to be my destiny, right? So I fight him, and it goes just like it always does at the time, right? I beat him convincingly. And I'm like, I just won this fucking tournament. This is the very first time I ever won a tournament. I had to fight the other two best Michigan players, as well as...
Did you cry?
No. Back then, I would cry when I lost, but never when I won. When I won,
shit.
I was on high.
Oh, you cried when you
Oh,
lost?
hell yeah. The first tournament I ever went... That first tournament I ever partook in. Again, I lost to Axis. Badly. And I was like, that was not fucking good. I had to step out of the room. I was like, this is not...
Oh, shit.
This was not a feeling I wanted. Like, meanwhile, like, I was still considered the third best but I was like way below the other two at the time. Like that's where the levels were. And I never, like at that time during those games, I never even got to fight Leo in tournament because he was on the other side of the bracket beating up people, and then I always got matched up with Axis and got, mollywopped by Tager. And it's like, the first tournament I ever went to, because like I'd been playing for a long time, but never got tournament days off, like I had to work. It was awful. But this tournament, like I went to it and like I won like my first 2 matches, got to Axis, he beat me, no fucking chance. Like combination of him being amazing and playing my worst matchup. And like I just fucking couldn't handle it. I was like, dude, like Leo was sitting right there next to me. He's like rooting me on. He's like, you just gotta fucking, and like that feeling when you have dudes cheering for you and you feel the room being deflated because you're getting your shit rocked.
I know what you mean.
That's a lot of emotional pressure on a little fucking, dude with depression that was undiagnosed at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that first tournament I won was like, I was like, dude, I did it. I never expected to win a tournament. Ever. In my wildest dreams. I didn't think I had that capacity, that potential. And I did.
And you still do have that capacity and potential.
I still do. I am the best gatekeeper in Michigan as far as I'm concerned. Like, if I enter a tournament, I might not win, and there's a good chance I won't, but there are about 10 of you motherfuckers that aren't going to make it past me, and I'm going to make sure you know.
Alright, so I want to try to avoid making this sound horribly cliched, but my last one is going to be, it's going to have to do with this podcast specifically and this group and then what we're doing here. This, I feel like its infancy is born out of when Pokemon Sun and Moon came out.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you leading up to Sun and Moon, that's like what brought us back together.
Right.
We had talked on and off, but realistically, I just argued with you because you post bullshit on Facebook. You're a shit poster.
Oh, yeah.
And
you didn't know that.
I didn't understand it about you, and it always pissed me off because like there's a reason why I legitimately thought you were stupid for some time.
Right.
And it's because I didn't understand the concept of shit posting or
I
anything
thought you felt that way about me too at some point.
There's an art.
I had to learn, but once I got, to know that and everything like that, and Pokemon was coming out, we started to talk more, and we arranged a tournament that ended up in me and you in the finals, and we never finished for Pokemon. We both completed the Pokedex and played the... Well, actually, I completed the Pokedex because you let me complete the Pokedex. But same, though, because I did all your trade evolutions.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we organized the Pokemon lobby. It was a small Facebook group, but it was fairly active. We were posting in there every day. We had people hyped about it. That's where we organized our tournament. That it ran for quite some time because it was hard to find time for the matchups,
right.
but it was a lot of fun.
It's
and
like a 2-month-long tournament.
Initially, we had talked about doing like a Pokemon podcast or competitive Pokemon, but
that would not have lasted.
No, and that was why we didn't do it, because the drive to play Pokemon Sun didn't last into the new year, really. Like, we finished our tournament and we haven't really touched it since.
Right.
But I feel like me and you, like, we became good friends again through that, so we were talking more, and I wanted to arrange little gatherings for gaming, because at that time, Overwatch had come out earlier on in the year that Pokemon Sun and Moon came out last year, 2016. I really played the dog shit out of that. At that time, I had not started working again, so I was at actually a pretty low point in life. I couldn't afford to get a lot of games, so when I got Overwatch, it was with the intent of that being the game that I was going to play for a long time.
Yeah.
That was the case. I played the dog shit out of that game. And then I started working again, and I started getting more games, and I did well working at the job, and I got things. And all the while, or when Pokemon was coming out, while I started this job and while Pokemon was coming out was when me and you started talking again. Me and Luna. And so Pokemon came out, we did our tournament, blah, blah, blah. I had, obviously I was in a better state at that point. Things were better, so
that was around the time you got with Kayla?
Yeah, around the time I got with my girlfriend. I wanted to organize game nights because, we had this whole new entertainment set up down in my basement, and I had the space for people, and I wanted to be social. So we got together, me, you, and a bunch, actually, really, it's just basically everybody involved with WaifuCast with a couple of extras here and there. But we got together and we played some multiplayer games, and that was fun, but we kept talking about the idea of a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And you just in passing mentioned WaifuCast.
Yeah.
And
I was like, that's a name I had an idea for.
I was playing the Switch and Zelda at the time, and Persona 5 was coming out. And at the time, I didn't even have a PS4, but I got one when, like, 3 or 4 days before Persona 5 came out, and I played the dog shit out of that game, as we all did. The reason why this is a milestone is because, like, there was all of my gaming history up until these last 2 years, I was very fickle about what games I finished and what I didn't, because I always wanted to play all the newest games, so I would get a game and play it just until the next thing came out and trade shit in.
Like you had like gamers ADD almost.
Yeah, I never could devote enough time, and being at my lowest point, not having any money, not being able to get games, I learned to value the games that I put my time into.
Mm-hmm.
So this was really born from a massive shift in how I game, and it's interesting because it happened to me as an adult and not as a young person.
I mean, I feel like because like when we're growing up, we're learning how to play games as kids, but when we get older, and we're learning how to juggle responsibilities, we don't know how to play games as adults because like we got so much other shit we need to do, and like it feels almost like time wasted.
See, I've never looked at it that way. It's my hobby. And, like, to be honest, like, as long as I'm not shirking my responsibilities in lieu of gaming, it's not a waste of time because it's how I want to spend my time.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Like, I don't desire to go out to the bar much anymore. I'm not I did my partying and it got me into trouble.
Yeah. Because
I just the way that I did it. And it's not to say that it's bad or that I never want to do it ever again, but it's definitely not a hobby.
Yeah.
And I
mean, this is easily the happiest you've ever been, on a surface level at least.
I do still suffer from depression, but I can look at the situation now and know that it's not because things are wrong in my life. It's because of chemicals.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's something that's fixable. So really, I'm not sad. It's actually like I can see a light at the end of that depression tunnel for the first time in a long time. Do not want to make this about mental health or anything like that, because
don't worry, because I'm gonna. But that's after
Well, all I know is that when I got with Kayla, when I reconnected with you, when me and you started chilling again, I'm talking about both of them at this point. When this group got together, it, like you said, it was a massive shift in my emotions, my mood, like how I feel about things, but it's like it's impacted my gaming life because now I look at games as way differently. I enjoy them with you guys, and I can enjoy them on my own, separate from WaifuCast now, and it's a great place to be. Like, doing this I'm thankful for it.
It's nice. Like I said, I enjoy it. Like, I really enjoy coming every week and just doing this. And
for you guys who are listening, like, there might not be that many of you. There might be many of you when you listen to this. Who knows? But, like, we'll always appreciate you. Like, I don't do this solely for me. I do this, like I said, I think in the initial podcast, because I felt like what's out there isn't 100% the best that it could be. Yeah. And I don't, who's to say that I can achieve what I think is 100% the best. But
even if it's not 100% the best, it's still 100% the best for us.
Yeah, it's our best. And we appreciate you being along for the ride. Now, so in summation, the last 2 years of my life have been a massive shift in how I played games because of a massive low point in my life. But from that massive low point and that massive shift in my games, WaifuCast was born. And that, the value of that obviously can't be understated. Or overstated, even. So, whoever's next.
Okay. Well, shit, I ain't got enough to follow that motherfucker up with. So, this was probably one of my first, milestones in playing video games. Because when I was younger, I primarily gamed on handhelds. Like, when I say younger, I mean like middle school, early high school.
I've always been
like
a
that.
handheld gamer.
Yeah,
To this day.
I always have. But like, my first exposure to the Mega Man Battle Network series was with number 2. It was the first one I owned. I never played the first one.
You didn't miss shit.
Yeah, I figured. So I got number 2, and once I got over the fact that it was like some grid-based shit, because I like Mega Man.
That battle system is literally one of the best that's
It's
ever
great,
hit
no.
an RPG ever.
It really is great.
That series seriously because they made like. I'll tell you what. First of all, I don't think there's a single game in that series, with the exception of maybe 4, that has a bad story. They got shit on critically because they put it out so often, because that's what Capcom does.
Yeah, they put it every fucking year. After 3.
I'm gonna let you tell your story. I'm gonna let you finish.
All right.
But the value of Battle Network is so fucking lost on people, and it's infuriating to me. It's literally like, aside from the X/0/ZX series, it's the best thing that Mega Man has ever put out, period.
I can't decide if I like it more than X.
I don't know if I like
They're
it.
probably on the same plane.
I
for
like
me.
X more because of the nostalgia attached to it, but like I said, those are the top tier
Yeah.
series of Mega Man.
Zero
games.
is one of the reasons why I fucking started growing the hair out.
I love Zero, dude. He's my favorite character in X.
Alright.
Okay, so like, when I bought the game, like, I knew nothing about the battle system, so I was shocked to see the grid-based system, because, like I said, I just bought it on a whim. It was Mega Man, fuck it, I'm getting this shit, you know?
No, I hear you.
So, once I got, like, accustomed to it, and, like, this was actually over a course of, like, maybe, like, a year or so that I've been playing this game, like, just on and off, and I finally got to the point where I was playing it a lot, and I got to, the final boss of the game, and I don't know if you remember the last boss of Mega Man Battle Network 2, but it was like that fucking, that like wolf thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that black like wolf thing or whatever that you fight, that huge virus. And at this point in the game, I've been getting by on using like the, you know how you have like the style changes where it could be like an element based like Mega Man? So I had been getting by on using like the Aqua Gut style.
Okay.
So if you remember that boss fight, it was like a bunch of shit going on at one time, but then on top of that, the fucking boss used a lot of fucking electric moves.
So he wrecked you.
So you could get hit twice and die because you're taking double damage and the shit's already strong. And I'm like, okay, well, either I out-finesse this nigga or I go back to normal style and it's just going to be near impossible.
Did you finesse it?
I finesse the fight. Like, it took me... Shit you not, it took me like a week to beat this fucking boss. And I beat him with Aqua Gut style, finessed the fuck out of him, only got hit by like his electric attacks once, and it was dope.
I think the most time I've ever spent on a single fight in a game was in Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker.
Ooh.
It was, I think there was 4 of the giant machine bosses that you could like farm for parts, and it was the 3rd one. It was really hard, but part of the problem with that game, just as an aside, is that it was designed for co-op, and the bosses were really hard to tackle in single player just in general, but they could be done. That's neither here nor there though. Most of my Battle Network experience, the vast majority of it was with the 3rd game. And
was that the nigga with the last boss? The nigga had the big ass fucking fist that took up like a quarter of the fucking
I'm
stage?
pretty sure. But the beauty of that game is that it had an end game that was massive. Like, you got access to an entirely new part of the net that you didn't have access to before. There was tons of hidden bosses.
It was great.
And, like, the one thing that game had is it had, like, a little star system. So, like, when you'd go load into the game, buy your save file, it'd have different stars for different achievements, essentially. It was a rudimentary achievement system from before, but it was, like, collect all the regular chips, collect all the super chips, do this, do that. But it was, like, it was a nice way to incentivize all of the stuff that came from after beating the main game. And, I mean, I probably put 100 hours into that game.
I'd put a lot of fucking time in the Mega Man Battle.
And
you know what, though? Despite what niggas mention, I liked 4. Fuck it, I don't give a fuck. I liked 4. I enjoyed
play
it.
enough.
At me.
Yeah, like I fucking loved Mega Man Battle Network 4 because I think 4 was the one that had that crossover with Django the Solar Boy from Boktai.
Yeah.
Oh,
Man,
geez.
Boktai. Oh, bro, Boktai. That shout out to Boktai because that game is fucking incredible.
I will be like go out on a fucking limb here. I will say that Boktai is probably like for me it's the best fucking Game Boy Advance game ever.
I won't go that far because to be honest with you, man, Golden Sun 1 and 2 as a package are like that's still like one of the best RPGs of that time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of really good games on the GBA, but it's in top 5 for sure.
I really
It's
like
just-
the Legacy of Goku 2 and 3.
That was 2 was my shit.
That series was great. Even
The
the
Legacy
first
of
one.
Goku 1 was extremely flawed, but it was still fun.
But at the time,
You
though,
didn't
it
give
was
a fuck, though, 'cause it was
first time
Goku.
we got a game like that
Yeah.
in
Oh,
Dragon
yeah.
Ball.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, dude, I would still go back and play that game to today. I could speed run that game. I'm pretty sure I could beat it in like
Legacy
3
of
hours.
Goku
Games
was
were
hot
great.
shit. I like 3
They
too.
were great.
2 was my
fucking
favorite. 3 was definitely a good second favorite because, like, just the fact that I could
2
go-
was every improvement that 1 needed.
Yeah.
Literally. Like, it was much bigger. It was better. That's awesome. I haven't thought about those games in a long
those
time.
games were
Same
great.
here.
Man. Yeah, well, the GBA, man, I could fucking reminisce on the GBA for a long time.
Maybe
Man.
we'll end up doing that.
Yeah,
Ooh, we should
let's
do
save that for another time.
So we'll close it out with my final milestone, and I wanted to save this one for last, even though it was the only one I had even thought of when I first got on the mic today. But fucking, I had to bring this up because similar to you, Orphis, who looked at games a whole new way because of your last milestone, it was like the same for me with this one, and I'm giving it to Persona 5, and the reason why it's so important and it beats out Sun and Moon because they both share very similar places in my life, but basically when I played Sun and Moon, I played it like I played any other Pokemon game before that, and by any other I basically mean the ones I liked, right? I played it, plowed through it, but while I was doing it, I still had other shit on. You know, like it's a handheld game. It's very easy to play like that for me.
Just as an aside, I guess because like when I gave my last milestone, it wasn't really about one or more games, but I think that Persona 5 is also like the best representation of how I played a game with that changed mindset, but I think it's going to similarly align with yours, so continue.
So another thing of note is that when I had played and beaten Sun and Moon, or Moon more specifically, that was before I was put on the Prozac, because I didn't get put on until I think about February of this year.
Okay.
So after I had beaten Sun and Moon and, stopped playing it, it's like, okay, it's just like all the other situations when I want to play a video game, can't bring myself to do it. The new Shantae at the time comes out, like I want to play it, played it for a little while, stopped playing it, wasn't in the mood for playing it. I was like, all right, I'll play it on the weekend, when I got time to play it. Weekend comes, I don't do it. It just comes down to like I don't feel like I have enough time to play games and do other stuff that I wanted to do.
That's a struggle.
Like I had realized that losing the motivation to do things that you once loved is a big symptom of depression. And I had always kind of assumed that I might have had it. But especially back during when I was 19 and shit, I never considered that because I thought depression just meant you were sad all the time. I'm like, I'm happy sometimes. I can't have depression. That's not what it means, right?
Right. Oh, no,
So,
definitely not.
I finally get the stones to go to my doctor, and I went there for the whole purpose of asking about it. But before I even see the doctor, they hand me this paper. They're like, we need you to fill this out. I'm like, oh, okay. All of it was about diagnosing depression. I was like, well, if this isn't a sign, I don't know what is. So I fill out this paper. My doctor prescribes me the Prozac. He's like, all right, we'll see if this works for you. The first treatment doesn't always work for everybody. And I'm like, I wanted it because I wanted that restoration of things that I enjoyed doing. Because at this point in my life, I was falling out of love with fighting games, competitive wise. I couldn't be asked to play any video game that I currently had. I was still buying them. I was like, oh, hey, Resident Evil 0 for PS4. Yeah, I want that. Buyed it. Still haven't played it.
Buyed it.
Buyed it, yeah. Still haven't played it. But it's like, Rebecca, that's my waifu, So it's like, I'm like, if this will give me back the motivation to do the shit that I like doing, that's what I want to do. So I take the 20 milligrams, like, every day, starting to feel a little bit uplifting. That motivation still hadn't come back. So I think it was about a week before you got me Persona 5 was where I went back, because it was like the monthly, the 1 month to see how I was doing after the initial whatever. So he's like, all right, I told him that, like, my motivation still hadn't come back yet, like I was hoping for. My mood has improved, but not, the shit that I wanted. Like, I didn't know that the mood improving was going to be the thing that was most important to me, and it is. But I was like, but my motivation still isn't, it's not what I want it to be. So he's like, all right, we're going to double it. You're going to get 40 milligrams now. So you get me Persona 5, and due to the hype surrounding the game at the time, like, Persona 5 was as far away from my mind as it could have possibly been.
When he says you, he means orifice, by the way.
Yeah. So, like, because, like, I knew that it wasn't on the top of my wish list, so it wasn't going to be a thing I spent money on, right? Like, there were so many other things I had to spend money on. I couldn't, like, save up for Persona, because it wasn't in me at the time. So it's like, but then when you said, dude, I'm getting it for you because I need someone to play it with, I'm like, so the second you said that, I was like, suddenly all the hype came into me, because it's like, man, now I want to play it, because now I'm seeing stuff about it, I'm going to get it, I want to play it. So when I got it, first day, I came home, put my headphones on, but for the game.
Okay.
It was the first time in a long time where I sat down and played a game 100% to play the game. Like, I wasn't sitting there with a bag of chips, with headphones and a podcast on, while grinding for fucking, hours, because that's how I have fun with games. It was, I'm playing this game, I don't know anything about the characters except for what they look like. I can't wait to play through this game.
God, man. And this is where it overlaps for you and I, because we both played that game, with the exception of, for me, of one detail of the story, completely blind.
Yeah.
With literally, I made it a point to, because it was like, I wanted to experience it.
Yeah.
Continue.
And as I was playing it, and again, this itself is another important mini milestone, because it really defines this milestone. There was a point where, again, I hadn't set my my regimen yet, and I kind of don't have a regimen anymore, because, like, WaifuCast has kind of thrown a wrench in it. But it's like, I got home from work one day, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play Persona. I pop in Persona. I'm like, I'm gonna grind a little bit because I lost this one boss, so I'm gonna level up just a little bit. And during my mindless grinding, I lost to a random encounter, and I was like, so I shut it off. I was like, I'll play it during the weekend. Right?
Yeah.
Famous last words, right?
Right.
That's what I said about Shantae. And at that moment, the fear was put in me. I'm like, not again, not this game, a game that my buddy spent $60 to buy me, right? So the weekend came, I turned my lights on, had my steak purchased, and
This fat fuck.
at about 5 o'clock, after spending time not playing Persona, at about 5 o'clock, I'm like, I think it's time to play Persona. Played Persona, played it all fucking night, and then shut it off. Was like, I'm gonna do that again next week. and I had it set, and like I was able to fully just enjoy the game for the game. Didn't have to just have playing a game be one segment of what I was doing. And the reason why that's so important, like, yeah, that game was amazing, but it sticks because I did the same thing with Xenoverse 2. I had gotten that recently, and again, like, even though there was, I don't need to hear anything in that game. Like, it's really not important. But every time I play it, headphones come on, I'm playing the fucking game. I'm fucking, going Super Saiyan and shit with my female Saiyan waifu. And I'm just enjoying the game for what it is.
Yep.
And that's so important for me as an adult to be able to feel that way again.
Yeah. No, I struggle a little bit with what you're talking about with the feeling like I'm wasting my time and whatnot, but the last 3 or 4 games that I played through to completion, Pokemon Sun and Moon, Breath of the Wild, and Persona 3, Persona 5, I played them all that way. And just like you, it had been forever since I played a game and enjoyed it like that. And I feel like I'm going to be able to do that again. One, with fighting games, because it's not the same as a narrative-driven game. You can enjoy it if you know what you're doing and whatnot, and I like learning, so there's that. Splatoon, it's a lot of fun. So it's like, and Ryusuke plays it, so me and you will play, you know what I mean? And that's a good feeling. I don't know, man, this WaifuCast. Yeah. Even though, I said, I still feel depressed from time to time. For one, I know that it's not my personal life, and I know that I have a support system. And so that makes things easier to swallow, and I'm going to try to get medicated as well.
Yeah.
And
so we could become an unstoppable team of...
We're already pretty fucking great.
Of, gives no fuck.
The world's not ready for WaifuCast.
No, dude.
On that
really
level.
Is not.
With that said...
We're going to go away for a while. But while we're gone, don't forget your WaifuCast.
Never forget your WaifuCast.
We love you.